Hey everyone, welcome back to Sasser House. In this video today, we are going to be transforming our back porch. This is part one of this series. And in today's video, we're gonna be doing some landscaping work. We're gonna put some lattice up on our porch and cover up the gaps in the porch that you could see underneath it. We're going to do some rock work. We're gonna do some planting. I've even put together these really cool raised beds that you're seeing behind me. So we're gonna show that in this video, how we fill them up, how we plant them out. Just this first part of this porch remodel made a huge transformation, and I can't wait for you guys to see it and see the rest of this series as we start releasing it here on YouTube. Let's do it. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is get rid of all of this junk behind me, clear the back porch, and I'm gonna give everything a nice good cleaning with the water hose. Okay, so for around the porch, we hate being able to see everything underneath it. And so we're gonna do some lattice to cover all of that up. But before I do that, I need to actually take our paint that we're gonna end up painting the porch and paint these posts down here. I made that mistake on the front of the house and I did not paint these. I went and put the lattice up first. And then when I was trying to get them painted, through the lattice, it was really hard to get the post painted. So they're still red in the front. So I'm not gonna make that mistake again. I'm gonna go ahead and paint the post first, and then I may go ahead and paint these boards too, and then I will shoot the lattice up. Here's the paint that we're using. It is a Behr porch and patio paint, and the color that we're going with is called Kaffee. It's kind of spelled like coffee, but with a K. It's kind of a warm brown color. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint these posts, and then we'll get the lattice shot up. Okay, so I was going to stop just right here because I'm about to do the lattice, but I've already got the paintbrush wet and the paint out, and I'm sweaty and dirty and everything with paint. So before I go clean up, I might as well just go ahead and paint everything on the outside of the porch. That way it's done. I'll put the lattice up, touch up all of that with paint, and then I can focus on the rest of the inside of the porch. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint all of the handrails and everything I reach from outside of the porch. It is literally 96 degrees today. And so at least some of the porch is in the shade. So I decided just to keep on painting because it's better on the porch than it is out there. So I'm just gonna keep on painting until this afternoon when the sun goes down, and then I will work on that lattice. All right, so it is now cooled off a little bit, and it is time for me to start on the lattice. And so they come in these 4x8 sheets, and I've done this on our front porch, but I'm still very new to this type of project. So eventually, I don't have the scrap wood and the hinges and stuff. Eventually, I'm going to put some sort of gate on the other side so I can access underneath the porch, and we'll probably store some stuff like our wheelbarrow and maybe our kayaks and stuff like that. But what I'm going to do is basically just start it at the very end here, flush, and then I am going to nail it up there with my nail gun, and then I'm gonna go around at the very end and cut off all of the excess on the top. Okay, so I thought that it was gonna look better going underneath and not going up all the way to the side. And I made an executive decision without Emily's opinion, so I hope I'm making the right call, because this is what we're going with. So I'm getting rid of the top part of all of that lattice, and I'll still have to do some trim work, but I do think that that's going to look much, much cleaner. Okay, now that all of the lattice is up, my next thing that I'm gonna do is I have some of these cedar fence pickets. These are super cheap. They're only like $2.50 or something. an 8-foot board. And now I'm basically just going to wrap the corner kind of like that to make that seam where the 2 pieces of lattice meet look nice. And then on all of our seams, like over there and then over here, pretty much on all of the posts where the seams are, I'm gonna just cut one of these cedar fence pickets and cover that seam up to make it look really nice. And then all of this is gonna get painted brown. So that's my last step on the lattice, and then we'll get back started painting, which will be so much fun to paint 52 feet of lattice. I'm being sarcastic, but we gotta get this done first. All right, so I've got my porch paint, the lattice and the trim is completely done. And now all that is left is to paint it. And there's really not a good way to paint this unless you have a paint sprayer. And I'm letting a friend of mine borrow my paint sprayer right now. So I'm gonna just paint it the good old fashioned way. I have decided I'm gonna go rent a paint sprayer to spray this porch. It's just gonna go so much faster. And it's only about $98 to rent it. I looked it up on Home Depot's website. And so I think it's gonna be totally worth it. So I'm going to tape off and tarp off our house. Everything else should be fine. So I'm gonna tarp off the house, and then I'm gonna go rent it, and we will start painting. And I think that's gonna make this go so much faster. Okay, so I just went to Home Depot and picked up a paint sprayer. And I really didn't have the budget and did not want to go rent a paint sprayer. But after painting just a little bit of lattice, I was like, it is too hot, and that is gonna take way too long. And so if I can figure out how this works, I've had a lot of struggle with paint sprayers in the past, but if I can figure out how this works, this should save me hours of work with painting the porch. So I'm gonna give it a try. Okay, so I had to make a trip back to Home Depot to get 3 more gallons of paint because this paint sprayer is going through so much more paint than I originally thought, but it is going by so fast. So I am glad that I got it. So I'm gonna show you guys in real time how long this takes with the paint sprayer to paint all of this ceiling. All right, so now I'm gonna dress up the outside around our porch, and I'm not gonna till up or tear up all of the grass because I'm about to put some landscape fabric down, and then I'm gonna do rocks as well. So I think that that'll be plenty to keep this grass and weeds and stuff from growing up through there for at least a while. So this is pretty heavy duty landscaping fabric that we had left over from another project. So I'm going to do about 4 feet out because we have raised beds that are gonna go here and here that are 3 feet deep. So I think I'm gonna do about 4 feet out, and we'll see how that looks. And once I get the raised beds in here, I may end up trimming it out and not doing 4 feet out. So we'll see. But first things first, I'm gonna just put this landscape fabric into place. Okay, next up, I've got these white rocks, and I'm just gonna start spreading them out everywhere and hope we have enough. before I get too far with the rocks, I've got a crepe myrtle tree that I'm gonna plant here kind of in this corner. So I've got to decide where it needs to go before I put all these rocks around it. I really don't want it too close tucked in the corner because it's gonna get pretty big. Okay, next up is the dirt. I've just got some topsoil. It's the cheapest stuff I could get at Home Depot. So I'm gonna see how far this gets me. I know I'm gonna have to go and get more. These raised beds are just much bigger than we thought they were gonna be, which I think they're gonna be beautiful, but it just takes a lot to fill these beds up. All right, so I got the raised beds almost full. And the last step is going to be doing this compost and manure for the last few inches of the raised beds. Okay, now the last thing I have left is rocks. So I'm gonna complete this landing here, and then if I have enough rocks left, I'm gonna put them underneath the steps too. That will help with weeds, and I think it's gonna look a lot better if I can do the white rocks underneath all of the steps.
Well, once again, Chris has absolutely blown me away. I've been gone for the past couple of days and I come home to a brand new backyard and he ain't even done yet. So now my part comes in and I am going to plant some plants here in these raised beds. So I want to do some herbs. We have some rosemary over here and I got some lavender over here. We've got some thyme that I grew last year that's been up on the porch, and it's a perennial, so it came back and it has been needing some TLC. So we're gonna put it in this raised bed. I got some sweet potato vine to spill over the edges, some filler flowers like marigolds and begonias. These are some echinaceas, some cone flowers, and these are perennials, so we can leave them in the raised beds all winter long, or I could transplant them and put them somewhere in our landscaping and put something new in here next season. So we have some perennials and some annuals, and so I'm really excited to get some of these planted into these beds.
And that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. There was so much progress made in just this first video of this series of the back porch remodel. The lattice work added so much. It looks so much better with the lattice and the trim. And of course, those rocks and the landscaping looks so good. I love the tree that we planted. Those metal raised garden beds with all of the flowers in it, that sends it over the top. I am obsessed with how far we've come in just a couple days. And so I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope that you guys will subscribe and stay tuned for the rest of this porch remodel. We've got a lot planned. We're gonna build some furniture. We're gonna do a really cool pattern on the porch. We've got so much more to come on this back porch remodel. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys on the next one. Bye y'all.